Quick question. When you watch The Mandalorian, were you actually watching the show or were you watching the plot and ignoring everything else? Because hidden in plain sight are details that are so specific, they feel like the creators are whispering in your ear, like the random metal lunchbox that's secretly one of the most famous props in Star Wars history. Or the blink and you miss it animal cameo that's basically a neon sign for animation fans. And the single symbol on one character's sleeve that quietly shouts, "This whole thing is about cloning." So today we're doing a full-speed countdown of 27 things you didn't know about The Mandalorian and Grogu. All verifiable, all checkable. And most of them are the kind of detail you'll only catch if you pause like a complete maniac. Spoiler warning, we're talking seasons 1 through 3. Let's start at 27. 27. The end credits are basically bonus story. Most people hit next episode the second the credits roll, but The Mandalorian's end credits are full-on concept art pulled from real pre-production designs. And sometimes those paintings quietly preview what the next chapter will focus on, like a mini storyboard you weren't meant to study, unless you're us. 26. That random metal box is now official Star Wars canon. In Chapter 1, the Mithral's stash is in that chunky metal container that looks like a sci-fi lunchbox. That's a Camtono, a canon name now, and it's a direct nod to the infamous ice cream maker prop a background character carried in The Empire Strikes Back. 25. Chapter 3 hides a trash compactor throwback. When Din is sneaking through the Imperial facility to rescue Grogu, look around the corridors. There's a ribbed metal pipe that's basically a wink at the pipe Luke and Han used in the original 1977 trash compactor scene. Same shape, same why is that here energy. 24. There's a Rogue One ship just casually parked. Also in Chapter 3. Keep an eye on the background on Navarro. You can spot a beat-up U-Wing, the rebel transport type from Rogue One, sitting there like it's just another Tuesday. 23. Din's flashbacks sneak in a holiday special nod. In Din's childhood flashbacks, notice the red-robed figures in the crowd. The styling is a subtle shout-out to Life Day, yes, that Life Day, from the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's the show acknowledging the weirdest corner of Star Wars history without saying it out loud. Okay, that was 5 blink and you missed it details, and we haven't even left the early chapters yet. 22. The jetpack moment is a sneaky Jon Favreau joke. In Chapter 3, when Din rockets upward and lands a hit in a way that feels very familiar. You're not imagining it. It plays like an Iron Man-style beat, and yes, the fact that Favreau made that moment feel superhero is the whole point. 21. The X-Wing pilots at the end of Chapter 6 are not random extras. At the end of Chapter 6, 3 New Republic X-Wings show up like, yeah, we heard you were being shady. Those pilots are cameos, and it's the coolest kind. They're directors from the show itself, including Dave Filoni as Trapper Wolf. 20. That Mandalorian bully in the early bar fight is literally voiced by the showrunner. The heavy Mandalorian who starts trouble isn't just big guy number 2. That's Paz Vizsla, and his voice is Jon Favreau, the creator of the series. Plus, the Vizsla name is a deliberate nod to Mandalorian history from animation. 19. Mando's disintegration rifle is a deep-cut Boba Fett callback. Din's Amban rifle feels brand new until you realize the 2-pronged design echoes Boba Fett's infamous rifle from the Star Wars Holiday Special. The show is basically flexing like, yeah, we remember the deep cuts. You don't. 18. The Scout Troopers in Chapter 8 were secretly comedy cameos. You know that scene where 2 Scout Troopers are just messing around right before everything goes down? One of them is Jason Sudeikis, and the other is Adam Pally. So yes, a future Ted Lasso coach helped guard Grogu. Now we're officially leaving cute Easter eggs territory, because the next stretch is where the show starts revealing secrets about how it was made. 17. That punch scene involved a puppet that cost millions. In Chapter 8, when that scout trooper hits Grogu, that's not a cheap prop getting bonked. Adam Pally has said Jon Favreau warned them the hero Grogu puppet cost around $5 million, which explains why the next takes were basically, please don't destroy the tiny space baby. 16. Werner Herzog basically fell in love with the puppet and called the crew cowards. Yes, seriously. Behind the scenes, Herzog reportedly called them cowards when they were shooting backup versions of scenes without the puppet, not because he saved Grogu from CGI forever, but because he wanted them to commit to the practical magic. 15. Grogu's voice is a science experiment in cuteness. His coos aren't just baby sounds slapped on top. Sound designers built Grogu's voice to feel adorable and ancient, layering human vocalizations with animal textures so he feels like a real creature, not a plushie. 14. Grogu being a secret wasn't an accident. It was a strategy. For a while, the show didn't even call him Grogu publicly. It was the child. And Jon Favreau has pointed to Donald Glover as a real example of how locked down Star Wars sets can be, because Glover kept big secrets from Solo so well that Favreau used that as the standard. 13. Grogu's name reveal is timed like a twist because it is a twist. In Chapter 13, Ahsoka doesn't just drop a name. She reveals Grogu was raised at the Jedi Temple, trained by many masters, and then his memory gets hidden after the chaos. So the show turns one line of dialogue into a whole new mystery. Halfway point. And from here on out, it's less fun trivia and more, oh, that's what's really going on. 12. Ahsoka's episode hides a blink-and-you-miss-it creature cameo. During Chapter 13's forest scenes, there's a moment where a small owl-like bird appears. That's Morai, a creature connected to Ahsoka's story from the animated side of Star Wars. If you weren't looking for it, you'd never notice it's even there. 11. The show teases midichlorians without saying the word. In Chapter 12, when the Imperial lab message plays, there's a quick readout that uses M-count. That's the show pointing at force sensitivity in the nerdiest, fastest way possible. It's basically whispering, yeah, they're after his blood. 10. Din's biggest helmet moment isn't just emotional, it's mechanical. In Chapter 15, Din doesn't remove his helmet because he suddenly changed his beliefs. He removes it because the Imperial terminal literally needs a face scan. So the rules of the world force the character to break his own rules, which makes the moment hit harder. 9. The seismic charge callback is weaponized nostalgia. At the end of Chapter 15, Slave One drops a seismic charge. And it's not just a cool boom, it's the Attack of the Clones moment of silence, then bwomp. If you watched on your phone speaker, you probably missed how perfectly that audio callback lands. 8. Season 3 quietly brings back Revenge of the Sith's creepiest location. In Chapter 19, Dr. Pershing gives his cloning speech in the same opera house where Palpatine told Anakin the Darth Plagueis story. So if you felt uncomfortable during that speech, congratulations. The location is doing its job. All right, final stretch. These last 7 are the ones that make a rewatch feel like you suddenly unlocked developer mode. 7. Pershing's dialogue is basically a giant flashing warning label. In that same Season 3 cloning arc, Pershing references the Caminoans and even uses the term strandcast. If you know Star Wars cloning lore, that line is basically the show tapping the sign that says, "This is bigger than Gideon." 6. The Mythosaur wasn't just a cool monster. In Chapter 18, that massive creature under the living waters is the Mythosaur, a legendary symbol in Mandalorian culture. It's not a random kaiju cameo. It's the show saying Mandalore's old stories might actually be real. 5. The Mandalorian's body language is so consistent because it's a team performance. Pedro Pascal is Din's voice and face, but for many helmet-on action scenes, the in-suit performance is handled by key performers. That's why Din always moves like the same space gunslinger, even when the filming schedule gets wild. 4. The galaxy feels real because of one production trick you didn't notice. The Mandalorian used stagecraft, the wraparound LED volume, so actors were lit by real environments in real time. It also solved a huge problem. Shiny Beskar would reflect a green screen like a mirror. So instead of changing the armor, they changed the entire filmmaking method. 3. The show hides a sequel trilogy musical cue like it's normal. In Season 2, listen closely when New Republic pilots show up. You can hear a version of the Resistance theme playing in-universe, subtle, but it connects this era to the future without anyone saying a word. Okay. Before we hit number 1, here's the dare. Go back to Pershing's uniform. Pause it. Zoom in. Because the answer has been sitting there the whole time. 2. Dr. Pershing's patch is not decoration. It's a symbol, and it's there for a reason. You just have to recognize what you're looking at. 1. Dr. Pershing's arm patch looks like the Camino cloning emblem. That tiny insignia is a visual link to Camino, the cloning world from Attack of the Clones, which means the show was hinting cloning from basically Pershing's first appearance, long before most people even knew Grogu's name. It's the kind of detail that makes you realize the plot wasn't hidden. We just weren't looking in the right place. So yeah, rewatch the series with those in mind and it's like a different show. Now you tell me, which one did you genuinely never notice? And which one are you immediately going back to check? If you want a part 2, I can do another countdown just on hidden Star Wars connections and background props because this series is absolutely packed with them. Oh, and since we're talking Mandalorian and Grogu, they're officially heading to theaters next, May 22nd, 2026. That's real. Hit like if you caught at least one of these on your own, subscribe for more deep dives, and I'll see you in the next one.